like doing lives on Facebook because they're real interactive. I get to talk to people, they ask questions right then and there, and I can answer them. And the worst part about it was she snuck off. And it was funny how she's a bit of a ninja in that she can get off when I'm busy talking. So I'd start reading these questions on the computer, and all of a sudden she's 3 steps off, and I noticed it. And I went, and half the time I'm looking at the screen because I had a phone down there live, and I was looking at the computer, and I'd notice on the computer that she's off the bed, and I'd look down and she was already, there's a delay. Well, I missed it. So I couldn't correct. So just now I'm jabbering away, and she, don't think for a second that she doesn't realize when I'm with her and without her, like mentally and connected to her. And so she sees me jabbering away, and she goes, I'd like to go over there. So she did. So did you see me correct her very hard? No. But because I missed the chance. Now, if I had caught her coming off of it, you'd have heard me change my tone. Not a lot, because she's itty bitty. She doesn't need a lot. I think a lot of times we don't realize how soft our dogs really are. I think we have this thought that my dog's not as soft as yours. Talking about me. Most dogs are, and I find out very quickly when I get them. I just got done finishing, not finishing, but I worked with this little Malinois Shepherd mix, and that little Malinois came in a handful. I mean hot, like really, really high energy, really dominating, a little mouthy, really jumpy, very vocal, all sorts of stuff, really highly excited, like easily excited, to the point where you lose control, running hot laps around the living room. And so I found that out very quickly, and I changed the dog's culture immediately. And so coming into it, that dog was 4 months old when I got it, and for that first few days, I realized that about 2 months of that was what it had been doing the last 2 months. The people that had the dog were great people, students. Sarah and Josh Bomar, they're like Bomar bow hunting. They were in Africa for a month. That's who owned the dog, so that's why I had the dog. But they didn't, admittedly, and they said to me, we were just on the verge of going, we really need help. Because the cute little puppy, which I just saw a cute little puppy walking in here, she, 2 weeks ago when I picked her up, was a really cute little puppy. And if we had given her kind of free reins for the last 2 weeks, we'd have a little bit of a handful. If you gave your dog free reins for any period of time, it's the idea of they're always learning, so we always got to be training. And so I'm jumping into this way too quick, because I had a chance to train right there. So here's another little thing that I really like the idea of is, I really like the idea of that these dogs are always learning, so we're always training. I think it's a mindset. I think it's something that you just have to adapt as a dog owner. I don't look at it like training a dog. I look at it like raising a dog. So it's a big difference when you start thinking about it that way. My wife and our 6-month-old baby is sitting back there. And if I set aside her attention span right now, I would have to set aside about 3 seconds, because that's it with her. I mean, she's 6 months old. So I don't set aside time to raise that baby. If you look in my booth, we've got a 17-year-old son. We didn't set aside a little more time as he got older to raise him or train him. We just decided when the baby came home, it's time we got to start raising him. It's time we got to start putting good habits into him. I look at dogs the same way. So the chance for them to learn is always there. Now you got to remember, the chance for them to pick up bad habits is always there too. So if you set aside, if your mentality is, well, it's just this little puppy, she can only focus for a short period of time, so we're going to do a few minutes every day with them. What happens the other minutes of the day is just as habit forming, probably more, because it's the majority of the time. You know, I don't have a routine. I don't have something that I come in here, and it's not because I don't want to be prepared. I think that's important, but I've learned over the years. I started sitting in seats like you guys are right now everything. I never went to school to be a dog trainer. I'm construction. I worked construction. I went to college. I got a degree in construction management, and then I joined the Carpenters Union. I mean, I did everything backwards in my life, right? So, but I liked working in the field more. So I was a carpenter. Did that for a while. I was going to work. Decided I always loved dogs. I always loved the dog training part, and I just started doing it on the side. And then I hurt my back and I couldn't go work in the field anymore, so I had to go into an office. Well, that was all the push I needed to not do that job anymore. I hated sitting in an office. It wasn't for me. But I had ideas, and one of the ideas came because I think ideas come from problems. I think I had a problem. So I was training a dog. It was bigger than this one, but not a whole lot. She was about 6 months old. She had teethed, so she was done teething. And so I took an antler. I took a real one, kind of like this, and I threw it for this young dog. And she was very excited about retrieving. She loved to retrieve. Their last name is Retriever. Like we don't train them to retrieve. We just bring it out of them. But she ran out with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of excitement. I'm going to show you it with her because she's going to make a couple of retrieves tonight. But she ran out and she hit the antler and she poked herself. And she rolled over and she yipped and she squealed. If you ever startle a young pup, she squealed like that. And I looked at it and I went, holy man, no big deal, but what? I can tell you the place. I can see it. I was on an icy road. It was snow packed and icy, and she ran up and boom, she hit it, rolled over. She stood up, her tail went between her legs, her ears just shut right down, and she came running back to me like she thought this bit her. She hated it. And so now, back up from that, the reason I was doing it with that 6-month-old puppy was because my background is gun dogs and bird dogs. And I raised some really nice ones in college, and then I did it on the side for people. But I realized where I'm a deer hunter, and so all things go back to deer with me. And I got into the bird stuff because I was in college, and my buddies were all from Minnesota. They were all big duck hunters. But so I had a really nice gun dog, but I realized I didn't have time to do deer hunting and duck hunting. It takes a ton of time, scouting and all that stuff. So I decided I'm going to stop bird hunting and I'm going to focus on deer. And I had a great dog, a great gun dog. And at the time, she was 8 years old. So wasn't she like she was a little puppy? I talked to someone in here about an older, was it you? Older dog? What kind did you have again?
The German short hair.
GSP. So, and I think you said you want to start with a young one because the one you had was a little bit older.
Yep.
So we were talking in our booth earlier. And this one was 8. She had a great foundation. So I had read, this is a long time ago, this is like 2005. So I had read about guys shed hunting with dogs, and I thought, I think it's really cool. I shed hunted for years before that, and I never found one. And part of it was I didn't know what I was doing, and I was looking in the wrong spots. You can't find sheds if they're not there, so you got to be in the right spots. So I wasn't finding antlers, and I thought, why don't I use my dog? So I really got into it. I took this 8-year-old dog. I threw an antler for her. She picked it up. She retrieved it. She was super smart. She's the reason I got into dog training. Thankfully, I didn't get one that wasn't real good because she was really easy. Even despite me, she turned into a good dog. So I got her, and she started picking up antlers, and I was off and running, and I went, I'm buying a puppy. I bought a puppy. I'm going to train it just to shed hunt. So I did that. And the first antler that she got thrown, she hated antlers. And then I'd pick up an antler, and she would run away from me. And if you've ever heard of gun-shy dogs, who in here has heard of a gun-shy dog? We just got done with the 4th of July. The 4th of July creates more gun-shy dogs than anything else. It's because we're not thinking about it. And all of a sudden, Joe starts lighting off fireworks, and we don't realize it. We've got a puppy here. Oh no. And all of a sudden, that dog's freaking out. And so we were just at a friend's house last weekend. They had a huge fireworks display. I mean, it was like semi-professional. It was really impressive. I had that puppy with us, and I had that little Malinois. And I know those dogs have not been introduced to gunfire, and they're too young, and I have no interest in doing it now. And I have no interest in doing it with fireworks. So what we did was we took those puppies, we brought kennels, we went down into the basement, we turned on reggae music really loud. Bob Marley was their party. And so we turned that music up and put them in the basement of the house while the fireworks went off, and they never heard a thing. hey, too many of these and I'd have forgot all about it. Next thing I know, I got a gun-shy dog. It happens that quick. And it can happen with lots of things. So, but one of the things that I had was this dog that was afraid of antlers. And that was where I went, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I thought about my gun dogs, and I thought, I don't introduce gunfire to them by shooting 12 gauges over their heads. I don't introduce birds to them by putting them in pens with roosters and crossing my fingers, hope it works out. It's just, we take steps to get to everything we do. So incrementally, I use balled up socks to start my puppy retrieves. I close all the doors, I get in the hallway, and I roll a little balled up sock, and I do it intentionally because that dog right there has needle teeth, sharp little needles. And when they bite into that sock, it's almost hard for her to spit it out. So it really encourages her to do what? Hold on to it. I'm getting this habit of go out with it in my mouth and come back with it in my mouth. I don't want dogs going out and spitting it out. I don't want dogs spitting it out short. So I'm going to show you a few things. It's probably one of the biggest hurdles that people have with retrievers is delivery. And I think you had asked me about force fetch. Do I force fetch? And I don't. And we'll talk about that a little bit. I do hold condition and I get delivery. I get solid delivery, no dropping, no blinking on bumpers, no running off, no victory laps, no keep away. Those are all symptoms that come up with some retrievers. But so when I did it though, I start out with a balled up sock and then I go to a puppy bumper. Here's a puppy bumper without the wings. I wouldn't have the wings on it. Then I tape some wings to it. Then I add some scent to it. Then I use cold game. Then I use fresh killed game. Then I use live pigeons. Eventually I get to a bird. And it's incremental training. So I'm a big believer in incremental training in everything we do. But incrementally, why the hell am I not introducing the dog to something that looks like an antler? I can make it smell like an antler, but it doesn't hurt the dog like it potentially did in that scenario. So will it happen every time? No, you might luck out. But when they're little and we're trying to introduce something and imprint it early, it's hard. First off, it goes against everything that's been bred into them for a soft mouth. Most retrievers have soft mouths. Soft mouths, hard things don't go together real well. It's why when I hold condition, I start out with a wooden dowel. It's for a couple of reasons. But I go to something hard because that little process is completely different than this. And I want to develop and enhance that soft little mouth of theirs. So I avoid this early on. I start out shape conditioning. What does it look like that's going to get me a retrieve? The retrieve is the reward for my shed dog, not an antler. I think a lot of people think, give them sheds and let them play with it. You know what your habits will be formed? Find a shed in the woods and play with it. Lay down and chew on it. Because everything you do is habit forming. So the thing that you find is if your dog's got antlers all the time, they lose their value. All of a sudden that little dog's got it all the time. What's so special about it? When I pick stuff up, and you'll watch, you can see some of these dogs. So some people can see them. If you can't, you can move, you can do whatever you want. I will go up and down the aisle with them. But as soon as I pick certain things up, anybody see Spry's tail right now? Anybody see Ellie's ears right now? Very exciting. Anybody see my dogs take off and run? No. Because control is real important. So I'm going to talk a little bit about foundation. And we usually title it Deer Dog stuff because we're going to talk about shed stuff and we're going to talk about tracking stuff because that's the fun stuff. What I have is bad news for you. Without foundation, you can't do it. Anybody want to leave yet? Because no one's here to learn how to teach their dogs to sit, stay, be quiet, be steady, lay on place, are they? I mean, no one comes to this for that. But the problem is if you can show me the best hunting dog in the world, they can find every antler, they can retrieve every duck. I mean, I see it all the time. I see it. Did you guys ask me if I trialed? If I did trials? I don't trial. Anybody in here trial? I don't. Do you hunt tests or do you do AKC? NAVDA. So a little bit different animal. I don't do any of that, and I'm not saying it's bad. I don't sense it from. Do you do it too?
I go along.
Okay. I don't sense it from you, but I'll tell you what, I've been in some rooms that I start talking like that and people don't like me right away because I'm not talking down on those things. It's just not what I do with my dogs. But what I have seen, and I don't see it so much with your groups, I would say the heaviest I see it is AKC. And it's because the game is built different than the hunt. Okay, and so what I see is I see a lot of these And the part that gets a little slippery is a lot of folks buy dogs based on titles, and titles are built through those networks, through those platforms. Would you agree? So what scares me is titled through the roof, and everyone goes hunting dog, and me or Tom or Joe or Sally or Jane buy that dog because they want the hunting dog. But then they realize very quickly that the dog is way more than they can handle. And the style of dog that is, and the style of training it took to do those games required a lot heavier hand than they ever want to have. It requires a lot of techniques that they're just not interested in. So I am a big believer in, first off, when you're looking for dogs, you should find a dog from a breeder that trains the way you train, hunts the way you hunt, and lives the way you live. Like, match up those lifestyles and training styles and hunt styles, because whatever you're gonna get, you can pad your bed a bit. Like, I buy dogs that are very, very similar to the style that I'm looking for, like to the point where I'm almost over the top with it. Like, we're in the process right now of testing a dog's genetics out right here. This is a whole different story, but I have a very, very big interest in this dog's lineage. And so I got the best thing in the world. I'm going to train a puppy out of it, and I'm going to tell, like throws like. So I'm going to tell if that dog fits what I'm looking for. If it does, I might have ideas of, I'm looking to build the perfect dog for me. And so I do think it's important that you find a dog that fits what you're doing. Lifestyle, hunt style, training style. But when you find it, it makes it a lot easier, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable. So I'm going to go pick this one up, and we just call it a denial. But it builds for a real steady dog. My risk in going down there is I just left the little puppy. And the puppy lifted her head, and she looked at me, and no big deal. Now, I'm going to show you, we're going to make a little puppy retrieve. I'm going to spin her up. So this will get her excited. One thing I should have done, and I didn't, is I don't have anything that doesn't have feathers on it. I wouldn't be real big on giving this little puppy feathers because I don't want her plucking. I don't want her to get in the habit of start picking feathers. Let's try it. Who's got a pocket knife? Is it sharp?
No.
My mom told me that you cut yourself on dull knives. Okay, so I am going to, thank you, I'm just going to take them off, because I just don't want to set this little puppy up to fail. It's part of the reason why I put her over here. So my mentality, my mindset is always wrapped around the idea of what can I do to make it better for my dog to succeed. By taking the wings off, there's a less chance of her to dawdle with it and get into a habit of picking off a feather. So I am going to bring her over. Yeah, we'll do this before. So I pick her up and I carry her off the bed. Because what am I working on right now? I'm working on her staying on the bed. I'm working on her getting to do what these guys are doing. I trust those dogs so much, I would leave them and come back in 3 days. And I don't think they'll come off. I mean, I mean it. They're solid. The other week we were working on a group training thing with some really good trainers by my house, and I put those three are our personal dogs. I should have introduced them. Bella, 16 weeks old. Had her for 2 weeks. Taylor is the one laying here nicely by Matt. Spry is a puppy of Taylor's. Taylor is the Whitetails Unlimited mascot. Spry is her puppy. Spry is 2.5 years old, turned 2 in December. Taylor's got a birthday coming up in 2 weeks. Ellie here is going to be 4 in September. Our family's dogs, they're our personal dogs. Gun dogs, shed dogs, tracking dogs, and we do upland with them. Taylor is certified therapy, so my wife took her through a process, works with kids with autism at a local school. So lots of versatility in these dogs. This one's going to go to an outfitter. This one is going to be a tracking dog and a duck dog. I mean, this dog right here is as cool as a cucumber. I mean, she's sweet. She was sweet from the day I picked her up. There's a reason why I've been after This dog comes from a UK kennel called Fenderwood. The guy's name is David Latham, and he has developed some of the, in my opinion, some of the finest dogs. Now, they're fine dogs for me. I don't know if they're the fit for everybody, but for my training style, for my preference, they're really nice. So I'm going to put her down, and I'm going to let her decide to go, you know what, I can move about a bit. And I'm going to let her get comfortable, because if I jump into this right away, location is real important to young dogs. It's important to big dogs. If I ask her to do something now, before I put her down, I hope Hugh's not around, because they usually pee right away. But so Mason took her outside, my son took her outside, let her go to the bathroom before we brought her in here. It kind of pads our bet. As soon as she wakes up, she's got to usually go to the bathroom. So we wanted to do it relatively quickly. Now I bring her in, and I'm actually going to move her around a bit. Come on. Now there's a lot of distractions in here, but watch how she works through this. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Very good. Very good. Very good. I mean, really nice. So I want to work her through here. Good. And watch how she kind of loosens up. Did anyone see how the difference going back is going out? Going out, this is what I really like about her. So I've said this from the minute I met her. I said, she's beautifully cautious, yet ultimately bold when she needs to be. She's got a little bit of energy and zip when she needs it, and she's real cautious at times. Come on, come on, come on. Very good, very good. She comes to me, she gets a little bit of praise. I'm gonna show you how I got that started. First off, when they're real little, they wanna follow us. Come on. Now, I broke the rust off. I loosened her up a bit. Come on. I'm going to move forward a bit in case I have to go backwards. So I'm setting myself up thinking, if she hangs up on me and I'm up against the table, I can't go any further away. There's a chance I might have to move away from her to get her to come to me. What's the best way to get the dog to come to you? A lot of people want to go get the dog, and then the dog gets in this habit of run away with something in my mouth, and they go, awesome. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Keep away. Well, keep away is about the worst thing I can do with a dog. Tug of war is about the worst thing I can do with a little retriever. I don't want to develop possessiveness. I want to develop a little bit of sharing. Come here. What is this? What is that? Good dog. Oh, that's a good dog. Oh, that is a good dog. And as she comes into me, you're going to notice, very good. Very good. Very good. And I'll take it from her. Thank you. And I'll give it right back. Thank you. Come here. Come on. Come on. Very good. Come on. Not in a hurry to take it away. We're going to share. Hey, man. It's yours. It's mine. Thank you. Very good. Now, she has done this from day one. Yeah, so look who's excited about this. They go, I'll go next. Yeah, you'll wait your turn. And they'll get rewarded if they wait. And if they were to break, they don't get a retrieve. So I want to get another little puppy retrieve. Come on, Bella. Come on, Bella. Good dog. Good dog. Very good. Very good. And I get her. Come on, come on, come on. Very good. Very good. And I get her in and I welcome her. And if she looks like she's going to spit it, I just hold it up. And I praise her. And I get under her chin and I tell her how good she is. Did. Very good. Very good. Now, and she goes, yeah, this is all right. Now, it would be very tempting to do this all day long, because look how good it looks. I mean, I look like a wizard. She's 16 weeks old. Come on. Get it into the cover a little bit there. Oh, very good. Oh, very good. Not in a hurry to snag it away from her. Not in a hurry to make her think that I'm going to steal it. I'll take it from her and I'll give it back. Good. 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 And I'm just not going to rush it. Good. I'm not going to let bad habits form. Good. Encourage that. Nice little sit, nice little delivery. Very good. Now, I'm big on the idea of on and off. I like dogs that understand the difference. I'm not a treat trainer. I don't use bribery. I don't want to have to carry a fanny pack. I see it all the time. And I go and I train with people that do treat train, and I just feel like we had a couple that treat trained the heck out of their dog at our workshop, and their dog would throw fits, and she would sneak at treats to kind of subdue it, I guess. I don't know. And then the dog threw another fit, and she'd sneak at a treat. And I looked at it and I went, what in the hell's going on here? Like, what are we doing? She's feeding the dog and fueling the behavior. And the behavior, now she likes to have stuff in her mouth. Don't leave your sandals around the house. But when she does pick them up, which she does, there's a pair of sandals there, she'll pick those up. And when she does, the last thing I'm going to do is tell her no. Because what is she doing? She's making a retrieve. And if you start telling her no on a retrieve, come on, oh, what have you got? Oh, a puppy's mouth is the cleanest thing in the world. You'll be fine. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Good girl, come on, come on. Very good. Oh, and she gets it so creatively back. Good. Now, I'll buy you another water. So here's what I have to do. I have to realize my little dog is ramping up, spinning up, spinning up, spinning up, to the point where I'm going to start to lose control. And then I'm going to get upset. And then I'm going to start hollering at her. And then she's going to go pick up another thing, and I'm going to tell her, no, leave that alone. And the next thing she goes is, I don't want to pick stuff up anymore. And then you're going to call and you're going to go, my dog doesn't retrieve. I just can't figure it out. But you don't realize that they're always learning. So what I want to do is, I'm going to show you, we started out on some recall stuff, but we were about to lose her. So what do? Reel her back in. So I hold on to her, and she's getting heavy. I mean, it's way easier to do this when they're 7 weeks old, 8 weeks old. But right now I feel her heart, and it's racing a little bit. But it'll slow down. And she's like, why is everybody looking at me? I mean, you can see so much animation in this little dog. I just think she's super intelligent. But what I will do is I will get her bowl of food. Now how much you want for that water? Because I didn't come real prepared. So here's what I like to do. I always water my food down, especially with puppies. But I do it with my older dogs too. But what it's going to do is, and this is her feeding time, like we're right in that window. It's getting a little bit late, so I'm going to let that soak. And the reason is I like habits of dogs that eat quickly. I don't like them to dawdle. She came to us with that issue. So I give her a window of time to eat. And if she doesn't finish it, I pick it up. Why? Because I want her to understand when it's time to eat, I focus on eating. Because I travel an awful lot with the dogs. And if it takes me 35, 40 minutes to get through a bowl of food, which it did with her, because she'd eat 2 bites and then she'd want to go do something else. So 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And if it takes 30 minutes apiece, I'm 2.5 hours sitting at a gas station trying to get my dogs to eat lunch. And I can't do it. So I want them eat. It's my job. When I'm done, we do something different. So so by getting it wet, now I got to remember, look at the little teeth on this little bugger. Dry, hard kibble is hard to chew. That's part of the reason it took her so long. So I soften it up. The other reason I do it is because I force her to get another drink. I struggle to get little puppies to drink water by itself. And so I don't want dehydrated dogs, especially this time of year. So as I add water, I gave her a drink and she didn't even know it. So it's another way. The other reason I like it is when these little puppies eat so much food. If you got one that's a real fast eater, I see it where they eat so much food. Well, watch. If you look at the size of that food when I put it in there, and then you look at it in 10 minutes, it's doubled in size. So when you put all that food into this little belly, it's double in size, and they get pretty full pretty quick. So I think they eat too fast. So I get it big before they put it in their belly. So just a couple different reasons. But what I'll do is I'll get that ready, and in the meantime, she's calmed back down. Her heartbeat is back to normal. So when I set her down, let's see how she does. Now, I do use kibble early on, and we've only had her 2 weeks, and for the first week I didn't do any of this. Just started doing this about 5 days ago. But I don't mind her coming to me. Now you'll see her response. Kind of test the waters again. She's kind of calmed back down. She's not hitting the ground running all over. She's kind of, oh, geez, I can move around. Good dog, good dog. Sit. Good. Good. Now, look at her little sit. Good. This is a habit that's forming already. Watch how she sits. See if you notice. Sit. Does anybody notice anything? She always turns and faces away. It's her habit. So I just assume get rid of that habit right now. Yeah, now, the first 3 or 4 days, I went like this. Get me, get me, get me. Sit. The first 3 or 4 days, I went like that. Good. I gave her a little piece of kibble. I told her how good she was. I did that for a couple days, and then I went every third one I gave her a piece of kibble. Or every third one I wouldn't give her kibble. So 2 out of 3 she'd get it, 1 out of 3 she wouldn't. Then I just slowly weaned it off to be praised instead of the kibble. But I'm going to show you what I started doing is to spin her back around. Good dog. So I'm getting recall. Sit. Good. And now I'm going like this. Good. So she doesn't get the food around the turn. She gets the food with the left hand in position. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Sit. Good. So now she's starting to learn, come in the right position to me, I get paid. Now again, I'm going to phase out food real quickly. Come on. Come on. Sit.
No.
Good.
Yeah.
And already, you're almost seeing how she starts to go that way, and her last step is in. Come here. Oh, you're going to make a retrieve. Very good. Very good. I called my shot. I knew it. Good. And so I'll treat you like my daughter, and I'll say, pick up your sandals. Come here. No, 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 no. Come here. Come on, come on, come on. Sit. Good. And that quickly, it's squared up a little bit. So I like to do, so that just came up. Ben, we haven't even discussed that in our videos. I just started doing that yesterday because I went, I got to get this dog to get out of that habit. It was getting really bad. Like it was getting to the bad where it came in and faced away. And I'm looking forward to the idea of Spry. Spry. Now, I won't allow that. See how she just tossed her head out like that? No, we'll have to do that again. Nope, we'll have to do that again. Nope. Good. Good. I don't like it when dogs fire their head back. As soon as they fire their head back, I'm free. So we'll put it back on. And I'll continue to do it until it comes off the right way. She's real excited. I think she knows what's coming. I mean, look at her. So this is that on-off switch where I talk about, you know, for part of this thing, she was half asleep in front. And now she's nearly twitching with excitement. Heel.
So my question is reward. So because she's pulling you out of the leash, why would you not put her back on the table and not give her a reward and start all over?
Because I'm gonna do it until she does it right.
You want to correct her?
And then when she gets it right, I'm gonna say, nice work. Because if I punish her to the idea of disassociation, and sometimes I will, if a dog it gets me upset to the point where I go, you're testing me, and my patience is about done. It's maybe best for me to put her away. So, but I don't feel like I was even close to losing it, you know?
No, I don't think that way.
Right, but I mean, so what I want her to understand is, what did I do wrong? I don't know that she would know what she did wrong if I said, get up on your place. Now I could have, I could tell her, go get up on your place. And I think she'd go up there, but I don't know that she would understand what the reason is. So I really want to get her through the problem until she does it right, and then let her know, nice work. So I have to be, and it's a reminder to me of, I have to be as quick to reward and tell them they're right and good as I am to tell them they're wrong. And I think sometimes we really start focusing on correcting them when they don't do it right. But we forget to tell them they did it right when they do it right. And that's hard for them to understand what you really want. So now she's nice, steadied up. She's been patient for me. Spry. Good. 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 Oh, jeez. Oh, boy. So this front delivery is what I want. Did. Good. And I can give it back to her. What does that look like? An awful lot like what we started doing with this little bugger really early. Did. And so she has no problem giving it to me because, hell, it might come back. Not bad. Good. You go lay down. Here. Did. Place. Place. Come on. Go lay down. Go lay down. So the reason that we're doing some of this stuff with front delivery is because that's going to help me down the road.
Did you use a certain word to
Dead.
go get it?
Oh, to go get it? Her name. I send them on their name. Because I might line up all three of them and want one of them to go, and I can't say, I say go back. To a dog, I'll say, Taylor, go back. Go back is at a distance, go back. That's what I use. I use get out, left and right. Get out, go back. And I'm really soft. So you didn't hear me say it very loud. You probably didn't hear me. I mean, you probably, what the hell did he just mumble? I said her name, Spry.
So now if somebody else would have said that, would she go, or is she?
I think she's pretty dialed into me.
Okay.
So and if you noticed where she was looking, she's really looking to me to say, when would you like me to go get this? And that, some of this is some mechanical stuff with lining. I don't want to have to line her to that because she should have it in memory. She should have seen it. She should be able to look down. And so I use, with a little puppy, there's a trainer that I did some training with recently. He's excellent, and so he uses a little watch cue. So we do a lot of memory work. So we go out and drop, and from a shed dog standpoint, what it does is it helps us to get dogs picking stuff up off the ground instead of us throwing it. A lot of times shed hunting, we throw the antlers a lot. We throw the training dummies a lot. I don't hardly ever throw dummies or bumpers for dogs. Like, I did it here, and it's more than I've done in the last week. Most of my work is memory work. So I actually walk them out, drop it, no, leave it, turn, heel them back, and then I wait, and then I send them. And so I build time in between, because it helps bridge the gap of a dog to understand that things aren't necessarily coming out of my hand. Antlers, you'll never see a buck run through the woods and shed its antlers. So your dog doesn't have to learn to watch for them to fall. Your dog needs to learn to see something on the ground, pick it up, and bring it back. So that memory part starts to bridge the gap of a dog to understand it might be something that's out there already. And that, if it's that shape or that smell, pick it up and bring it back to him. He gets pretty excited. So that's why memory work is pretty important to me. But with her, so now feeding wise, this is my objectives with this young dog. Nothing formal. I use feeding time a lot to get really sit, good. I get real consistent, sit. And I have to be very careful with her because you're going to see the issue I'm having.
Daddy.
The issue I'm having is she's too steady. and I can't get her. The food isn't so exciting to her to line her and send her. Now I like to line and send a dog on a retrieve. And she said, wow, the bend's more interesting than my food. That's how she's not super food driven. She doesn't get that excited about the bowl of food. Where, Spry, sit. No, heel. Spry. So this is a big payday for her. She goes, wow, and I'm hungry. I mean, they're hungry right now. But you'll see, my dogs don't waste a lot of time. They eat pretty quickly. Come on. Place. Come on. Place. Spry. Place. Now her, she doesn't get that excited about it. I got to figure out how to get that going first. So one of the things I got to do is shorten this up. Good. Good. Bella, 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 come on, come on, come on. I can't even get you to move. Come on, come on, good girl. So food just doesn't do it for her the way it does some of my other dogs. Now, this is where this habit will come in, where she'll drink a little, she'll eat a little. She'll drink a little, she'll eat a little. So what I'm going to start doing, good, is I'm going to not worry about the steadiness part. It's the opposite of what I do with most of these puppies. Most of these puppies really want to go, so it's a great chance for me to steady them up. She doesn't really want to go. So what do I have to do? I got to get her to go. So I might get her excited about food, and I might slide the food and let her chase it and play with, catch it and eat it. But I'm going to have to do something different than what I've done with nearly every dog I've ever trained with her. That's why you can't watch one of my DVDs and go, do it the way Spry did it. Spry didn't make her retrieve till she was 8 months old. Watch Live with Spry. It's uncomfortable. Like, I'm live on Facebook, and I'm a trainer training a Labrador Retriever that doesn't retrieve. And I'm pulling my hair out. And I'm going, and I'm frustrated, and I'm upset, and I'm a little angry about it, and I'm realizing none of that is getting her to retrieve. So if you watch the series, you'll realize at about, now she teethed, and I never got real good retrieves out of her before that. She teethed, I stopped retrieving during teething. It's going to form a bad habit. Hurts their mouth. They want to chew on stuff. So they lay down and chew on it. Well, last thing I want is a dog forming a bad habit. So I stopped retrieving. One thing she's doing a wonderful job of tonight is not fooling around in between bites. She's gotten so much better in the last week with it. But with Spry, what I did was, after she stopped teething, I went, I gotta get this dog to retrieve. I'm on Facebook Live. I mean, of all the things to put pressure on yourself for, it's freaking Facebook Live. Who cares? But everybody's watching this and seeing how I can't get the dog to retrieve. And I'm wondering, how am I gonna do it? I tried things I'd never tried before, and none of them worked. So then I went, you know what? So what? And I literally talked on Facebook Live about, you know what, I'm just not going to worry about it that much. We'll work on other stuff. Her heel work was fantastic. I had her off lead. She was just doing some really nice stuff. Come on, come on, come on. So I had her doing a lot of really good stuff. And I went, we'll work on other things. We just won't do retrieving. And so one weekend we're up north. I think it was like Labor Day weekend. We're up at my parents' place. They have a place up in Rhinelander. And we're on the water, and I'm very informally down on the water, and I had a dummy, and it got in the water somehow, and she looked pretty interested, and I encouraged her, and she liked the water, and she ran out, or swam out, and picked it up and turned around and swam right back with it. And I went, I threw it back out. She went out and she picked it up and she brought it back. I threw it back out. I threw it a little further, a little further, a little further, and she swam out and picked it up like she was a field trial dog. And she brought it back to me, and I went, all right. So I did it again the next day. I was up there for a long weekend. I did it for a couple days. And then we came back, and then we tried it on land. And she picked it up, and she brought it right back to me. And I went, she did it. And from there on, I never missed a beat. And that dog right now is strong retriever. Great little retriever. But just took a while. And for a few weeks of me not worrying about it, something happened where it clicked. And the water helped. So, you know, I can't stress how important it is that sometimes we worry so damn much about stuff with these dogs, and we don't realize that that's the reason they're not getting it. We just got to let it happen. I'm in no rush. Patience to me is the most underrated trait that someone working with a dog can have. So, like, and I ramble on. Like, I mean, I just ramble about weird things. But you have to be patient with these dogs. This dog belongs to a client. I have the most pressure. I'm writing an article right now. I write some stuff for Badger Sportsman and for Gun Dog magazine, and I'm writing an article right now about 4-year plan. That's what it's going to be called, because my kid's going to go to college, and we're talking about 4-year plans and how much money it'll save us if it takes 4 instead of 5. And I realize how much I cost my parents because I took 5.5. But so 4-year plan is what I'm focusing on, and I'm really thinking about it with this college thing. And I started thinking about the realization that Ellie's going to be 4, she's 2.5, and Taylor's 6. And any one of those dogs, I would argue, it wouldn't be a hard sell for people to say, boy, I would take that dog. That's a really nice dog. Ellie hunted for the first time last year. She's 3. She was 3. Spry has not gone on a hunt. She's 2.5. She just wasn't ready. Wasn't prepared. I never prepared for it. But I'm telling you right now that, like, the level that they are at to go into the field this season and hunt is probably beyond where most people, a lot of people, I will say, just average dog owners that hunt with their dogs, they're probably all 3, including Spry at 2.5, further on than most will ever get with their dogs. And the reason is because I just went obnoxiously slow. And the reason I did that is because I had clients' dogs to train. So they got trained before mine, and mine just matured out of necessity. But I didn't not do anything with them. I just took my time. Spry started back casting last fall. Like going back, handling her back. That was last fall. I went right and left with her. Ben, when did we do it? About
30 days ago.
well, that was Cody and I started Spry not far before that.
30 days.
So about a month, probably a little bit more with Spry. So maybe 45 days ago is when she started going right and left. And right now I can handle that dog on a dime at a pretty good distance. But she was 2.5 years old when she started doing it. She caught on very quickly. So I was talking with a trainer that I got this dog from, and he was talking to me about, you know, professional trainers don't have the luxury necessarily all the time to take their time the way they should. They have to really get things going, because if they don't, they got customers that aren't happy, they charge by the month, they have to do all these expectations and meet and exceed expectations. I don't do it that way. That one right there, the client will get it when she's ready, they're ready, and I'm ready. It's a totally different model. It's almost like it's my dog. So is anyone in here a professional trainer? Then none of you have the pressure to say, 3 months you need to be here. 2 months. Did anyone come into this today thinking or wondering, how long should it take for me to do this? I get a lot of questions. How long did it take to do that? How long does it take to do this? My answer is 100% all the time the same. I don't know, and it doesn't matter. Because the amount of time that it takes for me to develop, now it has to be within reason, and you got to realize, if you stay the course, if you get yourself a plan, like with Spry, I didn't not do anything with her for 2.5 years and then expect her to be magically trained because she's old or older. We put like little baby steps. And I'm a big believer in taking, did you ask me about hold conditioning? So hold conditioning, I don't force fetch. I don't put pressure on dogs to do things that they do naturally. I hold condition, and I started out when they're little puppies, just encourage that delivery, and then there's this process that I take. Matt's going through it right now with his dog. So what I do is you were talking about, I think you told me, I put her on the table and she does really well there. Nailed it first day. So I put her on the ground and I went 10 feet away from her and she drops it before she gets to me. I told him I'm on the table for probably a week and a half to 2 weeks before I think about ever coming off, and that's if they do really well. There's some dogs that I might be on the table for a couple weeks with them. Might take me a week to get them comfortable to put a bumper in their mouth. Now yours took to it very naturally, so it's this idea of she's got it. There's no dog out there that can learn it that quickly. Not to the idea that they won't have holes, and holes come up at the wrong time. They always do. So what did I tell you? I said, get on the table and get perfect on the table for at least 5 days in a row. And then have the dog take a step on the table, 1 step. Have him take a step to you and deliver. And then maybe 2 steps. And then maybe 3 steps. A couple days each time. And then go to the ground and have the dog take 1 step. And then have the dog take 2 steps, and do that for 3-4 days in a row. And by the time you get the dog taking 10 steps, you're 3 weeks into it and the dog is solid. But it's because you got there with little bitty steps, but lots of them. So everything's really connected together. So with these dogs, I'm going to show you a couple things. Now I get a little nervous because I get this little puppy and she will break. I need a volunteer to hold a puppy. Because my fear is that little dog, does anybody have to go at 8 o'clock? I don't think there's a seminar after us. So I want to show you a few things. So let's take Ellie. So this is one of my dogs. I'm going to show you that memory part, because I put a lot of emphasis on memory and retrieve. Instead of me throwing it down there, which I could throw it down there and she'd pick it up and she'd turn around and she'd come back with it. Not going to break. This dog will shed hunt. She has shed hunted for me now. This is her 2nd season. First season was she went for walks with me. She found some for us this last year. She's going to be. She duck hunted last year for the first time. Ellie. So she's out. Let me look at her. How she's got to figure out, well, how do I get a hold of this thing up off the carpet? She figures it out, nice and comfortable in her mouth. Good. She's got a little snafu with her delivery. She likes to turn her head away from me. So I bring my hand to the left. Good. Did. So a lot of people will throw this over and over and over again, and then they'll go, oh, I'll throw it a little bit further, and they throw it as far as they can. And the dog gets used to how far someone can throw. And then the dog runs out to that distance and instantly hunts, because they realize you can't throw it any further. So I extend distances this way, but I also start building in memory. So heel. So I bring the dog out on heel. And then I pitch it out, short distance. No, heel. So you see how I went like this? Watch what my dog has this habit of look to the line. So I line up at that dummy and I say no, heel. And I bring her around with this finger. And in that little bit of a heel, in that little drill, I start to get the dog to key off my finger. I line them up like a rifle. I go from their nose, down their spine, to their tail. If I line them up, if they're facing this way and I send them this way, guess which way they're going? That way. So we start off wrong right off the bat. But so now we walk out, we drop the antler. We put some time in there. We can leave this for a while. 2.7 seconds is a short-term memory for a dog. That goes back, and I didn't make that up, they did a test on it. But if I don't correct the dog instantly, they don't know why I'm correcting them for. If I don't praise the dog instantly, they don't know what I'm praising them for. So that's short-term. But they also have some long-term. My dogs mark stuff down and they have to remember it. And then they got to go do something else and they got to come back to that memory. So they got some long-term memory too. But this dog, so now I let this time elapse. Ellie, go back. And so now she picks and delivers. Good. Right here. And you see how proud she is? So she kind of prances. I really like her style. Did. Now, sit. So that was a trailing memory. So the trailing memory is what I build a lot of retrieves on.
That's for that guy.
Oh. Thank you. Where did it come from? My wife brought you water.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. So now I walked out. I set it down. I came back. This is just a variation. This is a sight memory. So she watched me walk out and put it down. Now, the first one when I did it, when I heeled her out and I said, no heel, and I heeled her around. In order to do that drill, now that was a retrieving drill, and it was an idea of building memory, and it was an idea of pick something up off the ground, and it was an idea of shape conditioning with an antler. It was all these things that we were trying to build towards with the retrieve, but without the ability for me to heel her down there, not have her break when I throw it, heel her back, have her sit quietly, line out and send her. Without her doing that, I couldn't have done the drill. That's where the foundation is so important. That's where I need a dog that has that basic foundation, or I can't. It's like having a basketball team that doesn't know how to dribble. How many games will you win? You can't play basketball if you don't know how to dribble. So heel work is where I start everything. I spend so much time with these dogs on heel because I want them to get to the point where I'm off lead. So heel. I don't want to have to fool around with wondering where my dog is. Especially, I always heel him on the left-hand side because I shoot right-handed. If I got my dog right here and I always know it, I have no risk shouldering a shotgun up and over the top of her. So it's just, you can do right or left, it doesn't matter, but be consistent with it. So I always like the left. Now, I'm going to send her to that hard antler. Watch the difference in how she picks this up. Ellie, go back. Whoa. Now she's got to figure this out. Good. 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 Almost to, I mean, she's excited, but do you see where there's potential for some danger there, some risk? Good. Now, that's the last thing I want to do with a dog for the first time that they see something like this. Oh, look who's here. Place. Get up. Come on. Come on. Spry. Spry. Come here. Spry. Come here. Get over here. Come on. Come on. Get up. Get up. Get up. So that was a really good example of, she's picked this up a lot over the last few years, and even that made her figure out exactly, because she doesn't normally pick it up off the carpet, and picking it up off the carpet is a lot harder than picking it up off the ground. There's nothing to get my jaw underneath. So she had to figure that out. So it was a really good example of the reason why I put so much value in this when it comes to conditioning the shape. This floats in the water. So I'll spry the little dog that the water saved her retrieve. I could use this all summer long and make retrieves, and it's dangerous in this heat. You have to be really careful. I work my dogs from about, it's getting a little bit later now, but I have all of my work in. Ben's in usually 6:30, 7 o'clock to do our Cody Go Back, and I've got all my dogs done before he comes, because if we go, Cody Go Back is a series we're doing, and by the time we're done, it's 8 o'clock. And after 8 o'clock, even where I live, it's too hot, in my opinion, to work dogs. You'll kill them. It's too hot. But water work we can do. So that's why I like this. This floats. Throw it out in the water, let the dog make the retrieve, understand that the idea of the antler shape and water, which most of my dogs really like, connect. Lots of fun. I'm not interested in dogs doing something out of fear. I have no interest. That's why I don't force fetch. That's why I don't use a shock collar. I have no interest in a dog doing something because they're afraid of what would happen if they didn't do it. I am a believer in the idea of, this is how I work. If you're my boss and you say, hey, if you do a good job, I'll give you a big raise. Or you're my boss and you say, make one mistake and you're fired. You're going to get way more out of me as an employee with the idea of incentivizing things. Give me an opportunity, give me a chance to go above and beyond, and I'll make more. I like that mentality. Now, I'm not saying you can't train dogs the other way. I'm saying I don't like it, and I'm not interested in it. So, but I also, it goes back to that idea of you got to figure out your own style. You got to figure. The reason I push so hard about no collars, shock collars, is because I think a lot of people don't realize that you can do that. I think collar companies, I know collar companies do really well. And I know they have a lot more money than I'll ever have, and they advertise very well. And I think they advertise them as fixes for everything. And I think the majority of the people that have them don't use them right. And they create more problems than they'll ever fix. And so I think for the small chance that it might help you, the risk that it will hurt you is much greater. And so I want people, I'm not saying don't use collars. I'm telling you I don't. And I'm telling you, you don't have to. Am I telling you it might take some work? I'm not going to lie to you. It will take work. But so does anything. I mean, and so that's a pretty debatable thing, and I don't talk about them much, the collars, because I don't use them. But I want to make sure everybody understands that this is all done without them. And can you do it with older dogs? Yeah, you can. It just takes time. Consistency and repetition form habits. And training a dog is nothing more than forming a habit. That's my belief. So I went over a little bit, but we started a little bit late. And we're gonna go by, we've got a booth. We're doing another seminar tomorrow at 2. Like, we covered about 1/10 of what I would like to cover. We only got an hour. And so, does anybody have any questions?
I just have 2 quick ones.
Yeah. Well, I never have a quick answer,
Right.
but.
So we have black lab puppy this exact age.
Yep.
2 questions. What do you recommend, like toys for teething or things that you want for teething? And then, are these beds just for training, or like in your house, do they like sleep on?
Great question. So the beds help place training because it's a physical barrier, and it helps my timing. So my timing can be good. If they step off, it's black and white. They're either on it or they're off of it. If they come off, I correct. If they're on, I tell them they're good. If they're on like a pillow or a mat, like I've got a big pillow thing that our older dogs stay on. I tell them to get on the place, they go on there. You could use a piece of cardboard. I've used stumps, I've used coolers, all sorts of stuff. Place is a place. So, you got a hold of that little animal? So I use them for training because of the way they're designed. I also use them at home. I also use them in our booth. I take them everywhere I go. I go up to my parents' house, I bring the beds, I put them on the dog. I put the older dogs on it. Now, that is earned over a period of time. At night, I got a couple dogs that sleep on them. I got a couple dogs that sleep in their crates. I use the crates a lot. Crates are not punishment, they're real safe. So my dogs will like to go lay in them with the doors open. So that is, yes, it's a training tool, but yes, it's an everyday use thing. And then once you get it, you can transfer it to anything. I could put them on place on that chair. I could put them on place on this table. Place just means you can go anywhere on it, but you can't come off. It's just a really, really valuable tool, especially if you like going places with your dog. Does that answer that?
Well, yeah, so if you're like watching TV or something,
Yep.
you want your dogs on those
Yes.
beds?
My dogs don't have free roam in the house.
Okay.
That's how they get into trouble.
That's cool.
So they go on their place, they go in their crate, or they go with me under 100% supervision. And if I just don't feel like paying attention, I'm going to do something that sets them up for success. You let them free roam your house, they're going to get into stuff. It's like asking a kid to go to the store and full of toys and don't play with anything. Like, not realistic. So that's how we use them. Chew toys, I do not use any because chewing is habitual. Those dogs have never wrecked a thing in my house, ever. One of 2 things. They're not allowed to wreck stuff because they're on place, or they're in their kennel, or they're with me under supervision. That's one reason. The other reason is they don't have, you see the chew marks on here? It's from puppy phase. That one was chewing on her bed the other night on live. They go through this, so I don't give them stuff to promote the idea of chewing. I don't think it's fair to tell a dog you can chew on this, but you can't chew on this. Because how does that dog know what it can and cannot chew on? You give your dog something to chew on, you're creating a chewer. It's habitual. So I avoided it. Now, when they're teething, I'll give them ice cubes. helps numb them a little bit. I think they get stressed out. I think it hurts. So I'll give them ice cubes. It kind of numbs it up, gives them that relief, but they're never going to confuse an ice cube with anything I own. I don't have anything like an ice cube. So I will let them do that a little bit when they're puppies. Even to the point that it becomes a little bit of a treat for my older dogs. I'll give you a treat. I don't give treats. I'll give you an ice cube. And they think it's the best thing in the world. So I want my dogs to like me. I know a guy that he's from the UK, a trainer, and I really like listening to him. His name's Robin Watson. Yeah, I would follow him. He's got a page called Tibia Gun Dogs. I really enjoy him. He says at the end of the night, no, I don't do this, but he says at the end of the night, he goes through his kennel and he gives everyone a cookie. He said, because I want them to be my buddy. Like, this isn't something that I'm competing against the dog. I think sometimes we get this gladiator mentality that we're going to show this dog what to do. I would rather ask it to work with me. I value cooperative dogs. And so I think we foster that. I think it's a cultural thing. So I like them to be on my side. I want to be friends with them. So I don't hold grudges. That's another thing. Dog doesn't make a mistake intentionally. 99%, maybe more, if possible, of the problems that happen right here. I'll admit it. Watch our live stuff. You'll see me make lots of mistakes. And then the dog screws up. And I'm not so I don't know if arrogant is the word, but I do see some arrogance and some guys work, and I shouldn't say guys and girls, whatever, working with dogs. Women make better trainers than guys. I'll put that out there. They're more patient. As a rule, not all of them. My wife's not here right now, is she? As a rule, women tend to be more patient. I think women tend to do better at raising things. I need to get better at that too. So I think you have to be conscious of it and have some self-awareness. But I think the problem that women usually have is their lack of confidence. I think you need both. I think you need patience and you got to be confident. And so sometimes I see the idea of big tough guy, little puppy, listen to me. That's not the relationship I'm looking for. Again, I don't want a dog doing something because they're afraid of what would happen if they didn't. I want them to do it because they go, really makes him happy. I don't know what it is, but he really gets excited. I talk like a little girl. Oh, you're so good. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And when I do that, my dogs go, what did I do? I'm not afraid. Watch any of the videos that I do. You'll hear a lot of high-pitched, squealy voices because they like that. So, but I don't hold a grudge against them. And I think sometimes people do. I hear people tell me stories about their dog did this to them, and I go, your dog didn't know. That's not what happened. Don't humanize them. They're not humans. It's not Disney. They don't have the same feelings that we do. So I think it's just kind of figuring out what totally off tangent to the Chew Toys. But any other questions?
These dogs they're not black labs though.
Yes.
Or they're a different breed of
So they are 100% black labs. They're registered AKC black labs. They come from, their genetics come from the UK.
Okay.
So yeah, so they're a British style field dog. So a couple of these are a few generations here in the States. That's mom of that one. Taylor is mom of Spry. So a couple of, but Taylor's parents were imported. So we're a generation or two off. That dog's dad lives in the UK, and mom was from the UK and imported here. So size, yes, a little smaller. Their conformation, their standard over there is smaller. We've bred dogs to be bigger, more athletic, higher drive. A lot of that is, and that's over a period of 30 years, but that or more. But that is built, again, it goes back to, a lot of it goes back to the field trial systems in America really drive the trends in the American dogs.
My other question to you was, like as I was telling you, we have 10-week German Shorthairs.
Yep.
And how do you keep your attention span? You know, without the
I work within their attention span. Okay. So I recognize and realize 10-week-old, I might get 3 or 4 good seconds out of them.
I mean, we things are going slow, like you say, you know,
Yeah.
like kennel.
Yeah.
you know, the coax of the food.
Yeah.
You know, to get, their food, not their treat, but the
Yeah.
food to get in. And he's working with them now that they do not come out,
Yeah.
you know, until he's
Totally.
okay.
That's what we're doing with that one. Yep.
They're at that point already, which is really good.
Yep.
And, you know, getting them to go in.
Yep.
And of course, it's a learned behavior. But it's like when they're out and about and you want them to come back.
Yep.
That-
So set yourself up for success.
Okay.
At 10 weeks old, most of my dogs usually want to be with me. They're just not confident enough to go and do their own thing yet. At 10 weeks old, I wouldn't expect them to kennel themselves up.
Yeah.
So I think you got to have realistic expectations.
And they are, which was amazing.
Yeah. So, but I'd go out in the yard and I'd start building in the recall habit, and I'd just walk around the yard like the Pied Piper, and I'd peep my whistle, beep, 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 beep. And the dog's following me, not because of the whistle, but the dog's following me because they have a habit of following me. And so I time that activity with this whistle.
Okay.
Or come on, come on, come on, come on.
Dog whistle.
Yeah. So, and I use a little peeless whistle. My dog's very dialed in when that blows. So it's a little softer. It doesn't have a tendency to flush game as much as a peed whistle. It doesn't freeze up in the cold. It's the reason why I use it. But so I would start those habits early.
So my question to you is, you know, nav is a big thing on birds, searching ducks. You said that you don't even put a bird over your dog until they're in the field till they're 2.5.
No, I didn't with
Whichever
this
dog,
one. Yeah.
But my point is, how does this dog learn the prey drive to go find a duck? If it doesn't,
They don't learn it. They have it.
they have it.
We just bring it out. Yeah. So explain.
So what I'm saying is, okay,
Yep.
it's like a nav that you bring your dog up to a duck pond.
Yep.
You bring your dog into a duck pond, you shoot the gun, and the dog doesn't have the prey to go look for a duck unless you teach it what a duck is.
Yeah. So what does the scenario look like? You walk up to the edge of a pond, shoot a gun where? Is there a visual with it?
So the scenario is part of the nav. One of the scenarios is you bring your dog up to a pond, you put him on, you sit him.
Yep.
Someone else beforehand, the dog is not even around, they put a duck out in the pond.
Yep.
You bring your
Live
dog up
duck?
to the pond, you shoot, you have your dog sit, you shoot, you release your dog, I use the name like you do.
Yep.
The dog has to search this pond for 10 minutes and find a duck.
Is it alive?
Yes.
Is
And
it shackled?
It's not shackled, no.
So how do they?
The goal is
It can't
basically-
fly.
It can fly. No, it can't fly. It can't
Okay.
fly. The fly wings. But the goal is
Hunt the water. Track on the water. Yeah.
Sure.
So I would do it with a hunt command. So I teach that dog a hunt command. I'll do it. I could have started it at 10 weeks if I had her.
my point. I get that, but my point is, you say you don't even put your dog on a bird till 2.5.
Well, no. I don't put any times on anything. So my personal dogs didn't.
Right.
Because I didn't have time.
Okay.
So when I got ready,
But
I
how
put
does
them
the
on.
dog- I guess I get what you're saying, but I'm thinking as a dog.
Yep.
How does a dog know that he's going to get rewarded when he finds the duck? Because he's never had that experience.
They're gonna. Well, my dog doesn't connect the duck with a reward. It connects the retrieve with the reward. So I can teach them to retrieve a beer can if I want.
But won't know how to search for one. That's my point.
Sure, I'll tell them, hi loss, hi loss, hi loss. That's a hunt command. So if I say to my dog, watch my dog's nose. Loss, loss, loss.
I get that, but now your dog's on a pond. You can't see it.
So how do you? So I would take the dog to the spot, and I'd say, loss, loss, go back, loss. And as soon as they get into the area, I do two things. I have a hunt whistle and I have a hunt command.
But you don't know where the duck is.
No, but their nose will tell them.
But you can't see the dog.
So I tell the dog to hunt.
Okay.
If I can't see the dog, I'm not going to give it any commands, because how do I know what to give it? So I put them in an area and I say lost, lost.
Okay.
And I let them go. Now,
We do.
so they're going to use. So they're going to use their nose. I'm not going to help find the duck. Their nose is going to find the duck. But would I take a dog that's never seen a duck before and bring him to a pond and say, go hunt the pond? No. I'd build up and I'd start out like I would with that puppy on a hunt command. And I'd take the lawnmower and I'd mow a circle. and I'd leave the grass this much higher, and I'd sprinkle kibble of food in it, and I'd get the dog downwind, and I'd just let the dog do its thing. I wouldn't say a word. And as soon as the dog gets wind of that food and goes into the cover, I'd stand back here and I'd go, lost, 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 good. And as soon as the little tail started to go, I know they found one. So I'd time that with good. And then I'd go to a tennis ball and cover. And I'd put the tennis ball scented in the cover, and I'd let the dog hunt the cover. And I'd lost, lost. And as soon as they change their body language, I know they smell it, good. They pick it and they bring it back to me. So all of a sudden these dogs would start to understand when I say lost, lost, hunt the area, something's here. And then I can cover their eyes and pitch a ball in where I throw it in there and let them see it, but it's in cover, they'll find it. Then I'll cover their eyes, pitch it in there, let them hunt the area, find it. Then I'll send them in there and say lost, and there's no tennis ball. But he says it's lost, go find it. So they go in there and they hunt and they hunt and they hunt and they hunt. And about the time they're gonna quit, I slip one in. And all of a sudden they go, boom, there it is, Dad, you're right. Bring it back to me. So I would do lots and lots of drills before I'd get them to the pond.
Gotcha.
But I don't care if they're 2.5 years old, as long as I prepared them. They could be a year if I've prepared them. I think what happens is I think sometimes we look at it and we go, by 1 year old, they need to be doing this. And if they're not ready for it, we don't do it. So it's just incremental, no different than heeling off lead. I wouldn't start heeling off lead if they're 4 years old until they're perfect on lead. But if they're 4 months old and they're doing really well on lead, I did it with Arrow, that little Malinois Shepherd. I heeled her off lead the other night, and she did it out of habit because she thought she was on lead. And so, but I had to prepare it to get there. So just incremental.
Okay.
Anybody else? Great question. I bored you enough. Yeah.
So we're kennel training our little guy.
Yeah.
How do you correct barking?
I leave her alone. And I like to cover the kennel.
In a separate room?
Yeah, separate them, make sure she doesn't have to go to the bathroom. So I give them like a 2-strike thing. They whine in the kennel, I take them outside. If they go to the bathroom and I put them back in and they start whining, I might wait a little while because I know they don't have to. But if they get into this whining, I let them out. As soon as I let them out and they don't go to the bathroom, and I go, I call your BS. Now I put you back in there, and then I put the earplugs in. I just don't pay attention. Let them whine it out. One of the best ways to do it is put a cover over the top. She doesn't whine in her kennel with a blanket. I just started it 2 days ago without the blanket, and she whines because she sees the world. She'd like to be with it. So when I start doing it without the blanket, which we're going to start now, I flip the blanket over, she'll lay right down and be quiet. I leave the blanket off, she whines, I go down to the shop and work. And I come back and she's quiet as a mouse sleeping, and I let her out. So I just get away from it. Don't correct her. Don't start hollering at her, because she's getting what she wants, attention. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad, she's getting attention. So you got to kind of get through that. You got to let them whine it out. You can't, otherwise she will train you to let her out. She will train you to do what she wants. So same is true with tying them out on a tie out on a stake. I do that to teach them to give the pressure to the neck, and that helps me with heel work. But they scream bloody murder. They just don't want to be there. You got to let them get through that. And then when they do it right, I let them fall asleep and then go wake them up. Don't let them get up and whine to get out. Let them fall asleep, and then you go wake them up and take them outside, tell them how good they are. Then just reset it. It's like hitting the reset button. Good question.
I do have another question.
Yeah.
I'm full of them. We have the dog, the male, has a really bad habit, and there's probably nothing that we can do with this. It's just learned. He's 6, 7 years old. That the howl and the barking when the train goes by is extremely bad.
So he howls at the train?
Mm-hmm. And barks at it.
Yeah.
It's rather close.
Yeah.
You know, but the female started doing it now as well.
Yeah, and that's a cultural thing, sees another one doing it. My dogs don't bark. My dogs, I can count on one hand the amount of time I've heard now this one will growl and bark when the UPS man comes, when the mailman, when a stranger comes to the door, this one gets real protective. And I don't know that I want to discourage that too much, because I don't mind it to a point. I mind it after I say to her, I know they're here. Right. So I tell her, that's enough. I got it. and then I want her to be quiet.
I
So.
don't know if there's something, if it's just something that's actually hurting his ears, or if it's something
I think he's probably communicating. He probably thinks he's talking to the train.
maybe.
But at that point, it's hard. With an older dog like that, it would be tone for me. It'd be, that's enough. I've had enough. So.
I've actually put the shock collar on him.
Sure.
Barking collar.
Yeah.
And he barks right through it.
Yeah.
It doesn't change.
Yeah. So.
It just must hurt that much.
Yeah. But I would like to see it so that pup doesn't pick the habit up.
I know, that's what I told him. I said, I think that they're,
Right. Right.
We live so close to train track. I mean,
Right.
hopefully the person that buys it won't have that.
Right. So. Anybody else?
all right.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
We're gonna we'll be here again tomorrow. We're gonna go back to our booth. I think the show's got another half hour yet. We have product, we have sales on everything. And we have another company. We have another brand within our company. It's called Hodeg. So it's stuff that's next to our booth. We're in the same booth. We're all on the same team in there. But Hodeg it's a communal scent. It's called the licking stick, and it's a communal scent thing that deer communicate using. So we put it where we want. It puts deer in a specific spot, in front of your camera, in front of your stand. I patented it the same year I patented this. And so us being a very small company, I had the resources and time to take one to market. So we did dog bone. We established kind of a footprint with distribution, built a system for fulfilling. We've got a warehouse. So we did that. And then in the last 2 years, we got a second patent on our licking stick. And so we felt pretty comfortable with the idea of going to retail with it, or taking it to public. So we sold direct to consumer for a year, and this last year we picked up some retail with it, and we still do majority of our stuff direct to consumer, but it's a deer product.
Okay.
Really cool product. I'm as passionate about it as I am any of them. I got a lot of ideas. The list is long of products that I'd like to do. Thank you guys.
Drive home, and I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if you don't.